feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know I'm leaving. I'ma take what's mine with the webs I'm weaving. I could take this crowd from seeing to believing. Got a taste for blood and my tongue keeps bleeding from the words I spit. So sharp, so freezing, so cold. Behold, frostbite they feeling. I could tear you apart or I could go heal them. Don't believe in fate, don't believe in ceilings. I just need a taste and my mind starts peeling. I don't pace myself, I grind on kneeling. Got lust for change, I just love the feeling. I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. And I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. Cause I'ma live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I go by at night, I be in my feelings. I'ma be fine, need time, and I'll soon be winning. I live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I go by at night, I be in my feelings. I'ma be fine, need time, and I'll soon be winning. I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon.
Hey everyone, what's going on? This is Mr. Riley coming to you live from the West Coast, the best coast, the West Side, and hopefully you're doing well this Monday evening over here on the West Coast at 8 p.m. So man, we've had a wonderful weekend. It's been a busy weekend for me. Hopefully it was a busy, or maybe not hopeful, but I'm sure maybe it was an enjoyable week for you. And man, I heard that our Palisades Dolphins won an exciting game this past Friday night. So we'll have Coach Smith. We'll talk about all of that good stuff. And then even, I think there was like a news appearance on a news show with the famous, area-wide Los Angeles made sportscaster. So we'll talk about that. So let's go ahead and, without further ado, let's go ahead and bring in Coach Smith to the show. And let's see. Hold on. There we go. Hey, Coach Smith, what's going on, sir?
How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How's your weekend?
It was good. It was fun. Exciting stuff happened, and I just can't complain. I even got some rest after an exciting weekend, so it was a perfect weekend.
Okay, good. So what about your football team? So I know, we'll get into the Pali football team, but what about your collegiate team? Did your collegiate team do anything this weekend?
No, they were winning late, and I actually fell asleep on the game. I was pretty tired. But when I woke up, I think we were winning or losing or something like that. And I woke up, we were up 3, and then Cincinnati drove down on the last minute and scored. And then we got the ball back with less than a minute and didn't score. So I'm a Jayhawk fan, so we didn't get it done. And then Sunday was even worse. So I don't know if I want to talk about that.
Well, you know what? I don't even, okay, so I figured Jayhawks, of course, because you're alum. So, I was going to have you remind the audience, but yeah, you're Raiders.
Yeah. It's bad.
Yeah. Okay, who did they play?
Played the Bears. They looked better. At least, they were running the ball. Genty had a good game. I think he had three touchdowns total.
Okay.
And then our defense was playing amazing in the first half. And it's funny, we controlled the game the whole time, but it was one of those games where if you keep that team in it late, you never know what's going to happen. And we kept the team around, and they scored late, and we couldn't score. And Gino had 3 picks, so it was up and down game.
Got you. Well, I still follow the Lobos, so I know they won because they played New Mexico State, which is like a big, huge rivalry game, and they had a sellout. So they wore
Nice.
their cherry red unis, and they put it on them. I forgot the final score, but I'm so excited that they won. I don't know if Washington State won, nor do I know if San Jose State won. So, and
Sure.
I do know who won against the Cowboys last night, or there wasn't even a win because both of these teams couldn't figure it out and get a win. They tied at the end of the game. So
Right.
we flew in from Texas, had to go see the kids, hung out at the State Fair Classic football game, Grambling and PV, Prairie View A&M. Wonderful
Oh,
game.
nice. Nice.
Marching bands, they performed and did what they did, and then went to the State Fair on right after the football game in the Cotton Bowl. So
Nice.
had an
Nice.
opportunity to not see the game, but we heard the game. And matter of fact, when I got off the airplane yesterday, the score was 13-2, and then Dak had just scored, the 2-yard touchdown. So I heard that was an exciting game, but kind of left without words with the tie at the final
Right.
final click. So it is what it is, man. Maybe our teams will get it together.
I don't know. We say this every year. And it's the
There's
same old story.
there's always next week, Coach.
Always, yes. There's only 4 games, so there's 13 more games left. So
It's
we'll turn
plenty
it around.
plenty enough football for both teams, for our teams to figure it out. So it's all
Exactly.
good. So let's go ahead and get into this Friday recap, man. Like I said, I heard it was an exciting game. I was following along on MaxPreps. I was checking and just make sure. I was like, okay, we in there. Oh, we not in there. It seems like Mary Star of the Sea, right?
Yeah.
It seemed like they were a running team, based on what I've seen or heard. Were they a running team or more of a passing team, Coach?
Well, everybody's a running team on us, so I think people watch film. They can see they can run the ball on us, and that's what their game plan is. And their quarterback's really good. He had a good arm. He's making throws in the first half. Picking us apart. So their total game plan in the first half. I think they ran perfectly. But I think they just knew that they could run the ball on us, and that's what they did majority of the time. And they picked their spots when they needed to pass the ball on second down and third down. I don't think they ran the ball. Threw the ball much on first down, but they just. They called some good plays, threw the ball exactly when they needed to, but for most part, their game plan was to run the ball down our throats, and that's what they did.
Yeah, the final score was 35-28, and so it looks like we didn't get any field goals. It was just strictly man on man with these touchdowns and the PATs. So I just shout out to our special teams and offense and defense, all 3 phases, of course. What is one thing that you noticed during the game that initially you had a problem with, and then how did you correct the problem that you kind of saw going as the game progressed?
I thought offensively we were trying to force the ball down the field a little bit, and that was the play calling. Wasn't anything the quarterback was doing or Jack was doing. I thought we could be aggressive, and I thought we had the receivers that could match up with their DBs, but they were just playing back and forcing us to throw the ball deep and covering us underneath. So, like I said, they called a perfect. And I even told the kids, whatever their game plan was, they ran it to perfection. They were double teaming Damari. They were forcing us to pass the ball, and I told them we're not going to be able to win this game. We're not going to win this game on one throw or one drive. We have to be smart. Start running the ball more. And second half, Harrison came out and had a. I think he's the only one that touched the ball the first drive, and then second drive, first play of the second drive, he scored. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, we're just going to stick to running the ball and see what happens, and we were able to do that. And defensively, like I said, they were just running the ball on us. They were getting 10 yards a play. It seemed like. So second half, we just adjusted our defense. We went more of a 4-down lineman or a 5-down lineman, and just told the kids we just need to be aggressive. And the kids stuck to that game plan. The second half was ours.
Yeah, I think in some of the previous games, now, and I've been waiting for Harrison to kind of have a real breakout game, right? Because there's times last season he would just get the ball and was like, okay, he's catching, he's running, he's doing everything, right? And so I'm glad to see that he was able to, get involved more with his running, because we know that he can, catch the ball, but just running, I think that's, for me at least, his bread and butter, being able to slash through the offensive line and, get those yards and score those touchdowns. So I'm glad that he was able to get his thing going. And, it seemed like it was a down night. I was just looking at the stats a few moments ago, and we'll get to the stats. Seemed like Jack had like a slightly off night, only throwing, I think it was less than 150 yards but he did have several touchdowns. So, of course, with the score of 35, he had an opportunity. Was their defense real, able to stop you guys more so in the first half? And then how did you kind of fix that in the second half with their, I know you talked about their offense, but how did your defensive side of the ball, how did that click in the second half?
No, like I said, their game plan was to stop our pass. They were playing too high defense. They were playing 3-down linemen. Trying to force pressure on Jack with the 3-down linemen, but they just played 8 guys behind it. So it was kind of hard for us to really get, find a rhythm and find space in the secondary to attack. I thought Jack, I didn't think Jack played bad. Like I said, I just think their whole game plan was to stop the pass, and they did well doing that. First drive, I think we were 100% on completions in that first drive when we scored. And then second half, we really didn't. Second drive, we really didn't, move the ball well. I think we had 3 plays of 3 and out or something. But we didn't have a lot of possessions in the first half either, so that kind of contributed to his numbers. And then the second half, we ran the ball more, so we didn't get really a chance to really throw the ball a lot. But, I thought Jack did a great job handing the ball off. We didn't run a lot of RPOs, but even when we did, he did a great job reading the defense, handing the ball off, not forcing the pass. So even though stats don't say so, I thought he played a great game. That's why he was Offensive Player of the Week.
Absolutely. So let's go over here, and I have a couple of, the box score. So again, 35-24 was the final score, and you see the breakdown by quarter. Even at the end of the first quarter, and then they were able to get 13 points as opposed to our 0 for us in the second quarter. Third quarter, we kind of had like a breakout in terms of our scoring. They had 8 points, and then we were able to shut them down, looks like in the fourth quarter, giving us 35-28. So that was super, super dope. And then to your point about, the stats in terms of times of possession, penalties, total plays. And so it looks like they ran 68 total plays to our 47. First downs, 17, 27. Penalties, and when I saw this, I was like, okay, 8 penalties. That's, under double digits, I think is a pretty manageable stat. I'm sure you would be happy with 0 penalties, but 8 is definitely better than 12, and it gets you kind of, under double digits. And then it's only for 35, so they weren't the large kind of penalties. 37 yards, it's not that big of a deal. And then time of possession, you guys were able to score 35 points, with only 15 minutes as opposed to 32 minutes for Mary of the Stars. So again, you guys doing your thing, did your thing, and got the stops, and you were able to score when it was necessary. So that was super, super dope.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pleased to see the penalties. Not 8 penalties is a lot, but the yard is really what helps. As long as we don't, we're not getting PIs every time and getting 15 yards at every penalty or unsportsmanlike. I could take 5 yards here and there.
Absolutely. And then looking at again, Jack 153 yards, 10 completions out of 18 attempts, but he still had 4 touchdowns. So, that was super nice as well, able to get the ball in the hands of our receivers. And, our guys can go. Once they get that ball, those yards after catch, man, have amazing speed. And so those, fellas were able to do that. Speaking of Harrison, 14 carries for 123 yards, 1 touchdown, and his longest was 50. So, when did that long run take place during the game, Coach, if you remember?
Harrison's?
Yes.
Yeah, that was the second. That was the second drive of the second half. Yeah, third quarter, second drive. Um, it was just. It was actually just an inside run, and he bounced it out, and he turned the corner, and nobody could catch him. And we were joking about it today. We're like, it looked like he was jogging, but nobody could catch him. So he has to step to speed, and once he hits that corner, it's hard to catch him. It
Yeah,
just reminds me
absolutely.
of the Eagle Rock game last year. Same thing. We ran an outside run, and he turned the corner. It looked like he was jogging, but it looked like as soon as somebody tried to get close, he just kept
Yeah.
separating.
Yeah, no, he definitely has the speed, and once he's broken away from the pack, it's going to be 6 points on the scoreboard. So that was super nice. Jack 6 of 32. We see Demar Desert try to get in there with a one carry, no yards, but then Devron Kearney as well able to get in there and make some things happen. And so to your point about receiving, no one had over 100 yards, which is fine. We'll deal with that. But, it's kind of excited to see DeMar DeZern getting 2 touchdowns. Talk about for the last 2 weeks, he hasn't been that influential of a player in the game. He's just been doing his thing. So maybe, highlight him just a little bit. Talk about, what it meant, because I'm sure, or I heard, at least one of those catches took place near the end of the football game, correct?
Yeah, it was the last minute of the game. We tried to move him inside there. So what teams are doing is they're bracketing him, which means they'll put a safety over the top, press corner, and then try to take him away. And DT or DB coach said the other coach told him our whole game plan was to shut him down. So there's teams are out there, they don't want him to beat them. So we have to find other ways to move him around and get him open, but. Um, yeah, at the last play, we moved him inside, and I said, "Well, they can't bracket him if he's in the slot." So it's just him one on one with the safety, and they play safety for a reason. You're not going to be able to guard, one of the fastest guys, best receivers in the state, and he made a good move, and Jack bought himself some time, kind of moving out of the pocket, and made a great throw and won the game for us.
Yeah. So Amber is she's watching. Hey, Amber, what's going on? And so she says, let me get my right scene up here because I want to make sure my scene is correct. She says the encroachment calls were killing us the first half. So to that point, kind of speak a little bit to that, Coach. Kind of paint the picture. 'Cause like I said, I'm over 2 hour zones away, over there just like, just scratching my hands and just rubbing them like, come on, Pally, come on. So talk about, kind of paint the picture for us, especially for, someone like me who was unable to watch the game in real time.
Yeah, we had a lot of mental mistakes, and I think half of those penalties were encroachment penalties and jumping on sides. So that's just things we can fix, and just making sure the kids are in the game, and you get tired, and you start making mental mistakes. So it's got to get them in shape. Really, it's all fixable, but we have to correct those because it does give the offense more chances to score or get first downs and keep the defense on the field longer. So the less plays they run, the more our offense is on the ball, which again, a lot of teams are slowing the game down to keep our offense off the field. So if our defense can get 3 and outs, not making those mistakes and penalties, they can get off the field, keep our offense on the field, and we can score more points. They can stop, the other team from scoring more points, and we can finish teams off earlier.
Yeah, and going back to the point about going back to the point about the penalties, so those small penalties, they do add up. It was only 8, but they were a smaller variety. So, I'm sure it's something that you guys can clean up, and, it really didn't seem to affect the outcome of the game. Because, your boys were doing what they needed to do. Just going back to receiving, I'm also noticing that Harrison was active in the receiving as well. So 6 receptions for 36 yards, and he had 1 touchdown as well. So just super, super dope for him, to get, to score by running, by by receiving, any way that he can help the team. I'm sure he's that guy, and he's going to do whatever he can to help the team. All-purpose yards, you can see, again, Harrison Carter, 123 yards rushing, receiving 36, so a total of 159. So super nice. And then you see the other guys also getting involved in the offense. And let's look at some of the defensive stats as well. We don't want to just target our offensive guys. There's a lot of hitting going up in the middle on our defensive side. And so one stat that stood out for me was Augie and for Enzo. Augie with 14 tackles, Enzo with 16. Let's give the defense some shine. Kind of talk about a little bit more about their presence on the field, trying to help the team on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, they first half they struggled a little bit, but the second half, the energy was, up on the sideline, and they were feeding off that. And Tolan was making plays, timely plays when he needed to. Augie was, making plays when he needed to. Enzo was always in the middle of things, making tackles. It seems like he's in on every play. Sean Flowers, one of our first-year players, he made a huge stop on fourth down that really turned the game around. And I think he thought he broke his back on that play, but he went all out and made a huge hit. And we got the ball back, stopped on the 4th and 1, got the ball back, and I believe we scored. I think that was the last drive we scored on to win the game. So those guys they're always making plays, always in the thick of things, and even our DBs, they play really well. It seemed like last year everybody was open, and this year it seems like we have guys around the ball, around the players. So those guys are really stepping up too.
And then I'm just noticing, I didn't see it before, Nico's in there for 15 tackles. So you got three guys, high double digits, 14, 15, and 16 tackles, which is super dope because, again, they had more time of possession, 32 minutes as opposed to 15. So they have more time. They have more time on the field to get their hands, a little bit dirty and disrupt some things that's happening on the offensive side of the ball for Mary Star of the Sea. So super dope. 108 tackles. That's a lot of tackles in the game. So I know they were completely worn out after this game. Hopefully they took a nice little ice bath or whatever, to allow their body time to kind of recuperate and get ready for, this week. So it's super, super nice. And then you see some more defensive stats. And I even saw, I think, even King Demetrius, I saw him. There was a highlight that I saw. I don't know if MaxPreps put it up or if it was a highlight that I saw on Instagram where King Demetrius, Harrison. I saw a couple of our regular offensive guys, because I think you said a couple of weeks ago that some of our players are going to be playing both ways. So talk about some of your two-way players and how important they were in this football game this past Friday.
King didn't play this past Friday, but it was Harrison. Harrison actually made the game-winning deflection to seal the game, and Damari played both ways. So those are only both two-way players we had, but their impact is great because it just adds more athletes to the secondary, and it's hard for other teams to throw the ball when you have guys who play on the offensive side that can recognize plays, make the jump on passes. And like I said, Harrison made a great play at the end to knock the ball down to seal the game. And anytime Damari's out there, he can cover a lot of ground, so it's hard to pass deep on us when he's out there. And again, Tavian, he's been playing great. Skyler got hurt on the opening kickoff, so we kind of missed him out there, but he's been playing great all season. And Jackson and Lamont, this is his first game after sitting out for transferring, and he had a couple of good plays as well. And he's almost like, they didn't pass the ball to him a lot because he was really smothering their offense. So, it's good to have guys we can count on to just throw out there and or give guys breaks. We know we have, a backup system that, we're not falling off too far.
Absolutely. And then, speaking of some of the guys that you talked about, I think we have them highlighted as our Dolphins of the week. So there you go. So you've talked about Jackson, you've talked about Jack, Carter Schwartz again, and Jack Crosby. So, you got some guys who are out there trying to. Yeah, you got some guys who are out there who, doing their thing, trying to make some stuff happen. And, that's super nice because, again, it's a long season. And I think the way you're subbing the kids in, giving them time, kind of rotate around, I think that's super awesome. It's going to help them throughout the course of the season. Because we don't want to have 5 or 6 Travis Hunters playing on both sides of the ball for the
Right.
whole entire game. So it's also
Right.
great to have these folks. So just shout out to these players who are the football players of the week. Jack Crosby, Jack Thomas, Carter Schwartz, and also Harrison Carter. So super, super dope. And let's see if I can give them some love with my super dope air horn right here. Where is it? There it is right there. Hopefully there you go. All right. Hopefully it's not going to be too loud. But yeah, super dope for those guys to get involved in the game and do what they need to do, what's necessary for the football team. So let's go ahead and transition, Coach. Let's transition back over to one of our spotlights, which is, since we just covered the player of the game, our JV team. So I believe they played Thursday, and they played against Mary Star of the Sea, correct?
Yeah, they played Thursday. That a tough game. Mary Star had a few transfers. I believe, I don't know if they had seniors on their team, but they had a few transfers. There were some big guys, and our JV team really stepped up and fought a tough game and lost only by 6 points. Really, we had a chance to win despite the other team's size and transfer kids. But I think we had a couple fumbles, a couple mistakes that turned the game around. But we have a tough group of kids down there on the JV level, and they're just getting better each week. So I'm really proud of what coach is doing, and he has those kids disciplined, and like I said, I'm looking forward to the next few weeks. They only have about 5 games left, 4 or 5 games left. So looking forward to see how they finish the season.
Absolutely. And shout out to them. Let me go ahead and hit the air horn for them. Super dope that they can come out and play hard. And that's been the case a lot of times where we'll play, some big dudes. I know our guys really play them, historically they've played very, very hard. And so despite the outcome, like you said, this past week they lost, they took an L. You said the difference was 6 points?
Yeah, it was 26-20.
Yeah. So, and then you might have those 2 or 3 key players on the opposite side of the ball for the team to make be impact players, especially if they're a little bit larger, if they're a transfer or whatever. So, super dope for them to kind of get their feet wet, and we got league coming up, so I'm sure they'll be really, really excited to go 5-0 in our league, and hopefully, because I know in times past some of our JV teams haven't been able to field a team. So hopefully, all the folks in our league, hopefully they have a JV football team so we can play and do what we need to do to build up their confidence and their skill level on the JV side of the ball. So super, super nice. Okay. So let's go ahead and hop into it. We're almost done. We're kind of trekking through our evening tonight, and I do want to put this comment up that Amber just left as we were talking about defense. She says, defense came through a second half, and Dylan called the heck out of the second half. Stands went crazy when we got that last TD for the win. So yeah, I can only imagine, and I wish I was there. I can only imagine what that experience was like, because you want to win. You especially, we gonna have to win on the road for a couple more weeks, right? So playing in someone else's field, what an exciting way to win. So again, super dope, and let's hope that it continues. So let's go ahead and continue to hop into our next segment of the show, which is the scouting report. So this is when we take a look at our opponent and, see what we need to do to come up with another W. So again, this week is the beginning of league. How do you feel right now with everyone 0-0 in league, and now this is the second half of the season? This is the most important part of the season. the rivalries and everything. How do you feel about the coming up league play against the Venices, the Fairfax, Hamiltons, Westchester, and I missed one, Hamilton.
Yeah, I mean, I always tell the kids our biggest or our toughest opponent is ourselves. If we play our game, I don't think there's a team in our league or on our schedule that can beat us. A lot of times we just shoot ourselves in the foot, and that's why we lose. So, now, I'm not saying that we're going to run through league, but like I said, I always worry about our team more than the other team each week. But Westchester has some. They have a big D line up front. So, we just have to be able to move them out the way. And I feel like we can run the ball on them. I feel like Jack's going to do his thing. Our receivers are going to do their thing. I expect our defense to have the best game of the season. I really think we can, match up. I think we match up well with them. So I think it'd be a good game for us. We're banged up a lot. We had a lot of injuries. We lost a couple kids for the season on Friday. So, those guys that haven't been playing are going to have to step up the next couple of weeks in place of those other guys. So, like I said, it's just a matter of how we play our game. We're just going to, I was telling kids we haven't lost to them, I think, since 2018 or something like that. So Westchester's going to come in and, expect to beat us or want to beat us. So we have, we always have to match that energy each week. Every team in our league is going to want to beat us. So, we're going to have their best each week. So we gotta play our best.
Yeah. You guys got a big, huge target on your back, right?
Yeah.
Because of the opponents, and we're already 5-0. We're going to face some teams that, in this case, 2-3. And we know Westchester, they'll bring it, but, for the past several years, Pali has always brought it. And so, again, one of my favorite games against Westchester at Westchester was something I called the Fog Bowl a couple of years ago where, it was just super hard. As the game went on and that fog came in, it was just super hard to see what was going on. Right. Even being on the field, doing what I do, it was hard to see like 30, 40 yards downfield because of just the fog having a major effect on the game. So let's just kind of go over some of their stats real quick. Of course, Pali's 5-0. Westchester is 2-3. The game is being played at Westchester. So I believe they have GoFan, as you can see right here, GoFan, and you can purchase your tickets over there. 7:30 is the start time, which is something new because all of our games previously started at 7 o'clock. So please make sure, if you're watching this, make sure you adjust your time. And then here's some other stats, additional stats in terms of home and away points for and against. So we know how to score the ball, so that's not a major issue. Team scoring averages, 43 for us, 20 for them. So again, I always say on paper, we got that part. We got that part. It looks good for us. It looks like it should be a win. However, you still have to play the game. So, and then here's some team stat comparisons right here. So we got rushing yards, 80 something to their 198 yards. That's a lot. So they're going to be, it might be another Granada Hills. What do you think, Coach? Another Granada Hills and how they play the ball, right?
No, I hope not. I can't go through that again. So I'm expecting not to have to score 60 points to win this game this week. So we don't need another Granada.
Absolutely. You're looking at the passing yardage. Jack Thomas always does his thing. And so 292 yards passing per game, right? And then you see the receiving as well. Total yards for Pali, 374 yards per game as opposed to 241. Tackles per game, we've already talked about that. Now, I think
the tackles per game is a little off. I don't think if we only run 67 plays, it's kind of hard to tackle 100 times. So.
Yeah. I was just about to say that. I mean, it's kind of crazy, for even for them, 14 tackles per game.
Right. Right.
Then again, that's what I keep saying about MaxPreps. And so again, here's some team leaders. So you have Harrison Carter, who was our main running back, and then Wyatt Orr, and I believe he's on the team last year.
Yeah.
So this is what it says. It says 179 yards per game. Coach, are you ready for a back that runs?
I'm hoping he only played one game and had a great game.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's a lot.
That is a
That's
lot. That is a lot. And so you see some of the more normal stats, at least for looks like Jaden Hightower passing 82 yards per game, receiving Dewan Scott. We already know what we can do, and so again, you see that average for Jack 306 yards per game, and Enzo with tackles and things of that nature. So we'll see, and then again, we're into league play, so you see all of the opponents that we'll face and the days that we'll face them. So this week we have Westchester. The following week we have Venice, and then at Uni, Palisades, and then or Hamilton, and then Fairfax is our final game of the season, the day before Halloween. So we'll see. Again, that's more of the record breakdown. So based on what you know, Coach, about this Westchester team, what is something that you will be working on this week to help the kids, get ready for the tackling or, receiving? What will you need to do to put in place for them to be successful this coming Friday?
I just think we need to just focus more. Like I said, we're banged up, so we're not gonna do a lot of tackling this week. It's gonna be more of a rest week, but still get some work done. We can't just not do anything. But even guys that are gonna play Friday are a little banged up, so we gotta get them some rest, and it's gonna be more of a mental week. We had a lunch meeting today, and I thought it went well. Just our install and watch some film on Westchester, and then tomorrow we'll do install on the field and do some drills to specific drills for the install. So it's just going to be a lighter week of practice, not a light week, a lighter week. I just try to save guys' bodies and be ready for Friday.
Yeah, it's a very important game, and I'm sure everyone wants to win against Westchester, being the home of the season opener in terms of our league play. So everyone, I'm sure, wants to get that first win under their belt, and continue to play good football. You got some folks who are banged up. Hopefully, the next guys, and they'll use that motto, the next man up, to come up and do what they need to do is necessary to make major contributions to the team and also to the football game. So super, super nice. All righty, Coach. So then, and I heard you kind of say this, you're going to be on the field. Now, I think last Monday when we talked, you had the boys go to the beach and do some workouts. Was that the same thing that happened this week?
No, today we're actually able to get used to Layfield back. So we just had, like I said, we did a recovery day. Coach Julian took them through some light workout just to recover their body. Did a little bit of conditioning. We're supposed to do a walkthrough, but conditioning or our recovery workout went over a little longer. So we still got our lunch meeting in, so we didn't really do a walkthrough. But I thought it was a good practice. The kids were focused. They worked hard, even though it was a light day, and so we didn't get to go to the beach. But the JV team was supposed to go to the beach. I'm not sure if they made it. I know they were watching film and having a meeting today. So, but yeah, I think the beach is something we'll start doing in the future.
Yeah, and then it's always that. I was reading Slack again, just kind of going through the messages, and I was like, okay, they got a field back. So maybe, I know you guys not able to transport all of the sleds and all the other stuff the way to whatever, but, you guys are consistently in workout mode, training the mind, body, and soul to get ready. And so it kind of proves, again, that you don't need all of the weights and, stuff that regular folks have for their football programs, but just sometimes good old grit and heart and hustle is really was going to make a major impact on the football team. So shout out to you guys, and shout out to the parents who are going to, helping with whatever they can, water, Gatorade, whatever the case might be, because those are some necessities that every football team definitely needs, especially if you're working out. So,
Yep.
super, super nice. All righty. And then, I saw some images of you hanging out at CBS, man. Kind of tell us what happened with that and how did that really come about? You hanging out at CBS or KCAL, which one, whatever, and then you hung out with, Jim Hill. What was that experience like for you?
It was amazing. One of the producers called me Thursday morning and said they were spotlighting our game versus Mary Star, and they'll have a camera crew out there, filming some stuff. And then he said if we win, whoever the winning team was, the coach will come out and do the interview and with the player. So it's funny. About halfway through the game, I was like, I guess I'm not going to CBS tomorrow. So I was like, well, and I need some rest, so I'm fine with that. But we ended up winning, and then we went out there. But it was amazing. Jim Hill is one of the nicest people I ever met. He was very encouraging. I took Grayson Brooks, who's our starting center, and he gave him a lot of advice. Took him in his office, talked to him. Really spent a lot of time with him before the broadcast, and I thought that was super nice. And then even on the way out, he's like, take my number, make sure you call me, and gave his number to Grayson and myself. So it was a very good experience, and just see behind the scenes and how everything works, and it's amazing, all the stuff behind you, but the whole thing is just one big green screen, and it was just interesting to see how everything works. But it was a great experience, and it was live, so I was a little nervous, but being with Jim Hill live, and it was great. It was awesome, and Grayson did a great job too.
Yeah. Coach, don't forget about us little people when you get famous, man. I mean, because I'm over here trying to do my thing. I'm gonna take a little credit, Coach, because I kind of helped prepare you, for the spotlight. I kind of helped you a little bit, just a little bit. I ain't trying to just a little bit.
No, but honestly, being on this podcast, it does help, with the questions, and we go off the cuff a lot. I know sometimes you'll prompt me to with a few questions, but a lot of times it's really off the cuff. So honestly, being on this podcast the last 2 or 3 years has really helped me with other interviews. So I do thank you for that.
Yeah, it's all good, man. No, I appreciate it. And here's the funny thing. So, like the previous coach a couple of years ago, his name is Timmy Hyde, right? So he's a big, not Navy. Oh gosh, he'll kill me. Irish, Fighting Irish. He's a big Fighting Irish fan, right?
Yeah.
So, we would do the same thing, right? Near the end of his tenure at Pali, I'd be like, hey, coach, join me. And so we'll go back and forth or whatever. And I mean, it was surprising because, he really wouldn't do those things, or I wasn't into those things, in the very beginning when he started, as he was progressing and my kids were getting a little bit older, I felt more comfortable with doing something like that. And so, now, he's on a podcast that airs every Saturday after the Fighting Irish game. And so I'm like, okay, coach, how you got to give me a little love, man, because I kind of got you started. But no, he's a wonderful wonderful person, and it was just super nice to see you guys. I did see some photos of the back of the green screen, like you said.
Yeah.
I just didn't have a chance to put them in the broadcast tonight. But no, it was super dope, and just knowing how that kind of stuff works. I was like, okay, this is a green screen because they got the field all. And so when Amber posted those photos, I was like, okay, it was a green screen. So I'm sure you guys look comfortable and you look happy. And, that Pally sweatshirt that you were wearing, that's pretty nice. I'm going to have to get me one. I'm going to have to get me a white one of those, man. So
that was specially made from BSN. So thank you, Rick, for that one.
Absolutely. And then now, who was the other gentleman that was along with you with Jim Hill doing that broadcast?
It's actually Stephon Johnson. He's actually the head coach at Dorsey.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right. That's super dope. Okay. Stefan, he did play with the Raiders, right? Many years ago, correct?
No, he played for USC. I don't know if he played with the Raiders. I don't
Okay.
remember.
Okay. I'm thinking somebody else. Okay. All right. Cool.
He could have. I
Darren,
don't remember.
Darren, let me know who Stefan Johnson played with. All right. I got one of my guys in the room. He can
I
probably
want to
tell
say
me.
the Titans. He went to USC, but I think the
Yeah,
Titans.
USC. Yeah, he's about to find it for me. But no, that was super dope, and I'm sure you guys again brought exposure to the Pali football team. And I love what Grayson said about just being ready, and I think the word that you guys used a lot in that broadcast was resilience. And so again, our team is finding that this is a season of resilience, and if they continue to be successful, then sky's the limit for them. We do want to get to that championship game, and so coach, just continue to do what you need to do to get the boys ready. And it's going to be especially hard during league play because, like I said, everyone has the target on our backs, and so hopefully, I'm sure you guys will put the boys in the right position to be successful during the season. Okay, so my boy Darren, Titans and the Redskins. So that's super, super nice. So congratulations on that. And then the final drive. If you're out there watching, we're going to wrap up the show. But if you have any burning question that you'd like to ask, we got a couple of minutes before we close out the show. But again, Coach, just want to say thank you for doing what you're doing without the weight room, without a field, without all the extras. You guys are definitely making it work. And so close us out. Give us any last words that you would want to say about the Mary Star football game or about this upcoming football game this week against Westchester.
Yeah, I mean, I never used resilience as much as I did, and it just really shows with this team. And I say, I thought the game on Friday was a microcosm of what we've been going through all year long with just being resilient, being behind, not giving up, coming back and overcoming a deficit. So these kids are not surprised by anything. We'll have a field on Monday and it'll switch on Tuesday. And like I said, they don't complain. They just go with the flow and they're ready for the next practice or the next thing that comes up. And, they've adjusted very well. So, just like first half, we were down, we adjusted at halftime and they did the game plan every week. We're at UCLA on Monday, and then tomorrow we'll be at Airport Park. Tuesday and Wednesday we'll be at Santa Monica College on Thursday. So, the kids just adjust and, each day and each week. So, really wasn't surprised, how we handled the second half and came back. But, this team, they surprise me each week and what they can do, and looking forward to the rest of the season. But, just a special group and what they've gone through and how they're handling it, and being a 5-0 is just, it makes things more special.
And I'm sure by now, Coach, they're probably really used to not having, field or, transitioning here or there or wherever you guys decide to go. They're just following you guys. And so, again, we tip our hats, or in this case, I have my visor on. So we tip our visors to you and your coaching staff and, just the boys and their hard work, their ethic, their being present, through everything. And so, again, resiliency is the word of the season, I guess. And so we'll just continue to use that word as you prepare them for league play. So, again, congratulations. And, guys, come on out. It's going to be a fun one at Westchester. It always is. We've had the Mud Bowl there. We've had the Fog Bowl. We've had a whole bunch of stuff. So, Coach, do me a favor. Just hang out in the. I'm gonna close up the show. Just hang out in the green room, and then we'll come back after. And but I appreciate you being available again. Next week around the same time works for you.
Yeah, it works for me.
Okay, cool. So we'll go ahead.
No Monday Night Football.
It's all good. All right, Coach. So just hang tight in the room for me.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, absolutely. All right, guys. So there you go. Coach Smith hanging out with us, man. I'm just so proud of this team and what they've accomplished so far. It seems like right now they're kind of geared up to maybe duplicate what we did last year. And so we're ready. Our first league game is this coming Friday at Westchester. 7:30 is the game time, is the kickoff. Make sure you buy your tickets on gofan.co. And make sure you choose the away side so that you can gain entrance into the football game. And so other than that, man, I think I am done for the night. Again, we just appreciate Coach Smith hopping on tonight and being available. We'll go ahead and schedule another one next week. And so, do us a favor before you leave. If you're watching the live version, that's fine. If you're watching the replay, do me a favor, just put in hashtag replay in the comments if you can. But you can also like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell. That way you will be notified anytime we go live and you can catch all of this wonderful action. I'm your host, Mr. Riley, for Coach Smith. We'll see you this Friday at Westchester. And, of course, I'm coming live to you from the West Coast, the best coast, the West Side. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Peace.
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gonna feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know I'm leaving. I'ma take what's mine with the webs I'm weaving. I could take this crowd from seeing to believing. Got a taste for